This program is brought to you by Ignite TV. Now you're in command. Visit Rogers.com for more details.
Hi, and welcome to my River District. Today, I am sitting down with Johnston. We're going to talk about how that is just the best name in the entire world. And Viveca Holton. Your name's also great, so don't worry. From Grey Bruce Community Legal Clinic. Hi, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Welcome to my River District. I'm so excited that you guys are here. I know that you guys are located in the professional center and you bring so much to this community in terms of services. And I think it's just so important that the general public know what is out there. So tell me a little bit about what you guys do. Jossie is the community legal worker. Yeah. And Viveca is the staff lawyer. So we've got a couple of different, jobs here, and hopefully you guys can just kind of fill in some of the gaps for us.
Yeah. So I've been a community legal worker for about 2 years now. I started with the Grey Bruce Legal Clinic, 2 years ago.
I am one of 2 staff lawyers, and then we also have a third lawyer. She's our executive director. I've personally been with the clinic since 2020, but I was in private practice for a few years before that. I'm glad that I landed at the clinic because I love the work we do. I really love having the opportunity to empower people who are too often disempowered by society. So people who live below the poverty line, people with physical and mental health disabilities, Indigenous and racialized peoples, youth, older adults, just to name some examples. And it's very important to me as a lawyer that everybody can access justice. And I'm very glad to be able to play even a small role in making justice more accessible to the most vulnerable members of our community.
Yeah, and I have a friend who is connected to the legal clinic, and she just speaks so highly about everybody there. It just sounds like a really great place to work and really fulfilling.
Oh, it definitely is. I'm not formally trained in anything legal, and I kind of found my way to the legal clinic through different professional experiences. And I found that the legal clinic is really open in their ability to kind of look beyond people and see kind of like the issues and again like the access to justice and how people can be marginalized in the work that they do in everyone's individual passions has been really great, and it's been like a really great place to work and to kind of explore other parts of my interests. Yeah.
That's fantastic. So tell me a little bit about what you do at the legal clinic.
Good thing you clarified.
Ski on the weekends.
Well, we provide free legal information, advice, and in some cases representation, as well as some other services like wills and powers of attorney to low-income residents of Grey and Bruce counties, as well as the Chippewas of Nawash First Nation and Saugeen First Nation. We're funded by Legal Aid Ontario, but we are not Legal Aid Ontario. That's a very common misunderstanding. Yeah. We're a nonprofit corporation, so we're staffed by lawyers, paralegals, community legal workers, and admin staff. We're governed by a volunteer board of directors. We offer services in a number of areas of law. Joss, did you want to talk a little bit about those?
Sorry?
Did you want to talk a little bit about the different areas of law that we work in?
Yeah, so some of the areas of law that we work in, predominantly housing is one of our biggest areas of law that we work in, considering all the issues that are happening today. We also do a little bit of work in wills and powers of attorney, and we can give information on human rights law, but we don't practice criminal or family law, which is something a lot of people come in for, but unfortunately that's not an area we do any work in. And then we also help support different social appeals in ODSP and OW.
Okay.
Yeah, so like some income stability or insecurity visas to help people, get onto those.
ODSP is the Ontario Disability Support Program, and OW is Ontario Work. So if somebody applies for either of those supports and is denied, then we can help them appeal the decision and hopefully get it granted.
Okay.
We do have a lawyer who's she works in another community, but she works very closely with our clinic. If somebody is wrongfully dismissed or has other employment law issues, then she may be able to help them with that. So that's another area that we can help in. And if somebody comes to us with an issue like criminal or family that we don't practice in, we do our very best to refer them to somebody who can help them. We're limited in what we have funding for, so we can only really assist in the areas that we're funded for. But we always want somebody to come, even if we can't help them, we want to make sure we direct them to somebody who can.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about the wills and powers of attorney and things like that. I myself am terrible and don't have any of these things in place. Please don't judge me. But first, why are they important for everybody to have? A will and or power of attorney?
I'm in the same boat. I don't think that I thought about wills and anything like that until I started working in the clinic, and it being almost a daily conversation. Every time I walk back to my office, I'm just like, I really should get on that. So they're really important because they pretty much will help guide your family in what your wishes are to be done with any of your estates or anything like that. And yeah, what I found is if you don't have one at the time that you pass, that it becomes a very, very rigorous legal process to get all those things in place. So but I'm sure Rebecca can expand more on that. I just know that they're really important.
So a power of attorney governs we have two different types of powers of attorney. We do a power of attorney for property, so giving somebody else the ability to manage your bank accounts, your real estate, make sure your rent is paid, anything like that. If while you're still living, but if you're not capable or not able for whatever reason to do it for yourself. And personal care. So if somebody becomes incapable of making decisions as to what kind of medication to take, what kind of treatment to undergo, where to live, even things like what their diet should be, then a person who has power of attorney can make those decisions for them. And it really helps because it allows a person to set out those wishes while they are capable. It also prevents squabbling among the family members. It provides doctors, banks, financial advisors with some guidance as to how a person's health care or assets should be treated. So powers of attorney are very important documents, and we recognize that there are members of the community who may have some assets and but not be able to afford the services of a traditional law firm. So if they meet our guidelines, then they can come to us and we can help them with that. And a will is a document that activates once a person has passed away, and it sets out who is to look after the assets and liabilities that they leave behind, who is to get any assets that they might have, and a will makes sure that all of that is taken care of once the person has passed. So it gives a lot of peace of mind. Even if somebody doesn't have a great deal of assets, it can really help them feel better to know that what they do have is going to go to the right people.
So what's a living will? Or do we not do that in Canada? Have I just heard that on TV?
Living will that's something that we don't usually do, but I think because we don't really give a lot of information, or because it's not something we do, I probably shouldn't give too much information on it.
That's fair. That is fair. Okay, so you were talking about, kind of qualifying for your services and stuff like that. How does somebody know that they qualify for your help?
It depends. We have a financial eligibility guideline, so we ask people questions about what their income is, what kind of assets they might have, what kind of liabilities they might have as far as debt load goes. Then sometimes we take other factors into consideration. For example, is help not available if somebody's a little bit above our guidelines, but help may not be available to them anywhere else? Are there mitigating factors? For example, are they Indigenous and might need to reach out to somebody else who is Indigenous to help them with whatever the issue is? So really, it's very much a case-by-case basis, but we do have a general financial eligibility guideline that we go by. And again, that varies too according to how many people are in a person's family. Do they have any dependents? Do they have any disabilities?
Sure.
Expenses, so on.
Okay, interesting. There's some sort of matrix involved.
Exactly.
So is this available on your website? Or do they have to make official contact with you to kind of start that process of determining eligibility?
Yeah, it is something that they would have to contact us for, and then we can go through all the questions that we need to ask. But we do have a lot of general information about what we do on our website, so it's still good to check it out.
Do you know your website?
Yep, www.gblegal.
Is it GB Legal?
I love putting people on the spot. Yeah. Google it, people.
We'll find it out to make sure we find it out before the end of the segment.
We will take a break, and at that point we can start Googling stuff. Don't worry, it's not a big deal. So, is there anything that you would like the public to know, really important, about utilizing you guys as an option?
I think the biggest thing is we want people to know that we're there. Even if it turns out that we're not able to help them, then like I mentioned earlier, hopefully we can refer them to someone who can. And even if we're not able to help them and we do have to refer them out, then they may know somebody else who needs our help, has an issue that we can help with. So that's the most important thing we want to put out there, is that we are there. And address, phone number, contact info, that I can give you right off the top of my head.
Well, you guys are located in the professional center.
Yes.
Ground floor, so you're accessible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right. And you're on the 3rd Ave.
Yes,
yeah.
it's the west parking lot. So we're accessible right from the 3rd Avenue parking lot. We're fully accessible. We have an automatic door. We have an accessible bathroom. So if anybody has mobility needs, we can make sure that we accommodate those. And we do our absolute best to accommodate every disability-related need. So, and if people just have any concerns about accessibility, they are absolutely welcome to call us in advance.
And is it a free initial consultation to discuss whether or not they meet eligibility and stuff?
Yeah, and our services are all free. We don't charge anybody, and we can also offer up to 2 hours of just advice, usually over the phone, to anybody, regardless of their financial situation, as long as it's within one of those areas of practice. So housing, ODSP or OW appeal, employment, 2 hours of free advice regardless of financial eligibility. Anything
fantastic.
beyond that, though, they would need to meet our guidelines.
Okay, so we're going to go to break, but when we come back, I understand that you guys have a program for in-work sexual harassment training and things like that. So maybe we can talk about that when we come back.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Gord Chapman. This is Ken Williams, and we're co-hosts of Weekend in the Rink on Rogers TV. Great minor hockey being played on Saturday afternoon. We got a great lineup this year, Ken.
Looking forward to another great season, Gord. The hockey's been fantastic over the last couple of years, and why would this year be any different? Looking forward to some great hockey. Rogers, Weekend at the Rink.
Hi, I'm Carol Merton. We All Belong, Voices of Lived Experiences is a Rogers TV program that tells about the struggles for survival for those who are marginalized and vulnerable in our community. Please join me for Voices of Lived Experiences on Rogers TV.
Join us next week on Grey County Life as we'll be welcoming Roger Young and Paul Newman from the Red Door Youth Community.
We'll also have a musical performance from Boiler Beach, and Renee will be here with another animal from the Owen Sound Animal Shelter.
Welcome back to my River District. I am sitting here with members of the Grey Bruce Community Legal Clinic, Jossie and Rebecca. And before the break, we were just going to touch on the sexual harassment in the workplace thing you guys have going on.
Project.
That project. So tell me about it.
All right. So we call it the SHIW Prevention Project, SHIW, Sexual Harassment in the Workplace. It is actually funded by Justice Canada, so it's federally funded. They gave $50 million over a 4-year period to a number of organizations across Canada, including legal clinics. All the legal clinics, or most of the legal clinics in Ontario, are involved in promoting the project. For us, it's been a little bit of a challenging project to get off the ground just because it's a topic that's very difficult to get the community to engage with. Partly because it's sensitive. People shy away from discussing it either because they're embarrassed or because they're afraid. But we're just going to keep putting it out there, putting the message out that workers have rights and employers have responsibilities when it comes to sexual harassment prevention. Knowledge is key. We want everybody to know what those rights and responsibilities are.
So what does it look like if I'm an employer and I want to engage with you for some training or something? What does that look like once I've kind of said, how do we get involved?
That employers can contact us either by phone or email and tell us what it is they'd like. If they're looking for help drafting a policy, or if they'd like somebody to come to present to them, we can do it in person or we can do it by Zoom. We just go over all the basics of sexual harassment in the workplace law and explain what steps they need to take, what kind of policy they should have in place, how they should handle it if an employee comes to them with a sexual harassment issue, how to handle it if somebody comes to them having witnessed a sexual harassment issue. We're really doing a lot to promote the idea of allyship, that if you see something, you should say something to help the person who has experienced it feel supported. So that's what we want to offer for employers.
Okay. And so for somebody who's in the workplace who may have been sexually harassed and they don't necessarily feel comfortable saying it to their employer, can they come through you as well?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. They can come to us and either seek some advice, what their options may be, or maybe how to handle it. And yeah.
And if they meet our financial qualifications, and if it's something that we can represent on, we can offer that legal representation in certain cases. So we encourage anybody who has experienced sexual harassment or even thinks they might have experienced sexual harassment, we invite them to call us and we can give them a better idea of where their situation stands legally and what they can do and what we might be able to do to help them.
Okay. No, I think that's really important information. I mean, anybody who's working in a workplace of any kind is at risk of these interactions and stuff like that. So knowing where you can go and that the employers are responsible for having some sort of policy in place to protect the employees and stuff like that is really, really important. So it's lovely that you guys are in the community and providing these kinds of supports to both employers and employees. You had also mentioned earlier when we were on break that you've got a couple of other projects kind of on the go because you've had some funding come in and stuff like that. So can you tell me a little bit about those?
Well, in the recent past, we had a project where we were reaching out to migrant workers to let them know what their legal rights were. Victims of human trafficking or people who might be at risk of human trafficking, letting them know what their legal options are. We've talked to tenants to let them know about their rights to safe, habitable housing. Housing provider organizations, what they need to do to make sure that they are providing safe, habitable housing. One of our colleagues, the other staff lawyer in the office, Angela Johnston, she was just given a 2-year grant from the Law Foundation of Ontario to work on an elder law project.
Okay.
So that's designed to help prevent elder abuse, put legal power into the hands of older adults. So that's something that she's really going to be very devoted to for the next 2 years. And we know that she's just going to knock that out of the park. She's great. She's very passionate about that topic.
No, I'm so intrigued by everything that you're saying. I'm just like, carry on. Tell me more. No, I think that's really, really wonderful. And so is that kind of how part of the legal clinic works? Is it, and you may have said this earlier, it's on kind of a project by project basis depending on funding. But regardless, you're always there for a specific line item of things?
Always.
Okay.
Yeah, funding, the sources of funding that we get, they do dictate what special projects we can work on, but we're always funded to help with housing, to help with social assistance appeals, employment, all the areas that I mentioned before break. That's something that we can always offer advice on. And
so nobody has to be concerned that once they've engaged with you, that you guys are just going to disappear because there is no longer funding.
We definitely don't want that to happen. And we have been in the community since 2001, I believe. So yeah, we've been established for 22 years. We're very busy. So I think I believe that the fact that there is such a high demand for our services means that the government will recognize the importance of our clinic and keep funding us for a long time. And we're part of a larger clinic system. There is a dedicated clinic that serves, for example, the Simcoe region, Dufferin region. There's multiple clinics in Toronto and the GTA. There's some northern clinics up in Sudbury and so on. And we're all part of the interconnected clinic system. So we just, as long as the funding for that clinic system remains strong, then we will. We're hopeful that we'll remain strong as well.
Stick around.
Well, we hope you stick around. I think it's really important for people to know. So if they come to you and they say their address or whatever, and it's out of your jurisdiction, then you have the ability to kind of say, we've got all of these offices and this one would be better suited to help you.
Yeah. Great. If somebody calls us, for example, from Collingwood, we can refer them to the Simcoe Clinic, or from Shelburne to the Dufferin Clinic. We always want to make sure that anybody who calls us, we do our best to point them in the right direction.
That's fantastic. No, we're super glad you're in the community. We're super glad that you're part of the River District and you are helping out with so many issues that are out there. I'm a little bit triggered by the fact that you said that you started over 20 years ago and that was 2001. I'm like, no, that math's not adding up. That was like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So anyways, I'm feeling real old. Sorry. I got on weird tangents.
2001, wasn't there a pandemic going on and weren't we all like wearing masks in 2001?
No.
Actually, when was SARS?
2003.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh, geez. Anyways,
I remember.
Really off track at this point.
Yeah.
No, it's awesome. Is there anything that you want to let potential clients or the community know? You were mentioning something about tenants and ensuring that they have safe housing and all that kind of stuff. What is the difference between the landlord and tenant board and what you're offering to these people, and who should they kind of reach out to first?
We would suggest that people or tenants call us first. We're not able to give advice to landlords. We're only funded to give advice to tenants. But if landlords do call us, then we can direct them to services that can help them. But we do invite tenants to call us first, because the landlord and tenant board resolves landlord-tenant disputes, whereas we give tenants legal advice on what rights they might have in their situation, what their options might be. We might be able to coach them to represent themselves before the landlord-tenant board or to fill out an application. There are some fairly rare circumstances where we can represent at the landlord-tenant board, but again, they would just, if they can reach out to us, then we're happy to give them any information that they ask for.
I think that's really, really helpful. I know there's a lot of situations where tenants feel as though, they're a little bit lost. It might not be the best housing situation for them, but to know that they do still have rights regardless of, their income or anything like that, I think is really, really important for them to know and to learn more about. So it's having you guys right there, very accessible. Just reach out and contact.
Yeah.
So I know during the break, you were very steadfast on finding all of your socials. So now I'm going to ask you the hard question. What are all your socials?
Everything. We're on Facebook. We are on X, formerly Twitter, and Instagram at GB Legal Clinic.
Okay.
Our website is www.gblegalclinic.com. We are also on TikTok as Grey Bruce Legal Clinic.
What are you guys doing on TikTok?
Well, Rebecca is really creative and has made a few different video shorts in relation to our shoe project. So we have, we did a cartoon, a Powtoons cartoon, and then as well as a script of a poem would you call it a poem or a song?
Poem, spoken word
piece that involved all of our legal clinic, and we had it professionally filmed and then put up. It was really great, and it was all Rebecca's creative work. She put a lot of work into it. It was really fun.
I would never have expected a legal clinic to be on TikTok. You're now officially more, I don't know, educated and better at doing social media than I am. So that's pretty impressive. I'm going to make sure that I follow you guys, because I think that that's really a really fun and engaging way to get information across. That's not so heavy and that kind of stuff, right? It's so I think that it's lovely that you guys are all on the social media channels, accessible that way to a different demographic, you know, maybe younger and stuff like that. So people kind of know that you're there from the very beginning, and should anything come up during their lifetime, they know that you're there and they can reach out.
Yeah.
We wanted to make sure that we do have a social media presence, especially for the SHOE project, because the stats show that those who are most likely to be targets of sexual harassment in the workplace are young women between 18 and 24. So we wanted to make sure that we have a social media presence to reach that demographic in particular.
That's smart.
And we know that, I mean, there's certainly not, that demographic is certainly not the only one that experiences it. And we also want to make sure that we're accessible to other demographics as well for other things. Even older adults, if going by what my parents like, it's Facebook. And if you look at millennials, it's a lot of Instagram. So we want to make sure that we hit all the different social media beats.
That's perfect. And we've got exactly 2 minutes left. So I'm going to ask you the question that I ask all of my guests, unless I forget, which is a very real chance. Why do you, as locals, love it here?
Well, I grew up in the area. I'm from the Chippewas of Nawash, so I moved away and then missed home so much that I found myself back here, and so I'm in town with my 3 kids, and it's just been a really great community to kind of return home to and explore. And it's just enough city for them that they don't miss being out in the city in Vancouver, to and then having the access to all of the fun hiking and nature. Yeah, so
that's basically my story. That's my answer. What's your answer?
I love it because I feel very welcome here. I love the fact that we've got the water close by. We've got the mountain just a short drive away. There's so much to do outdoors. There's so many beautiful places to walk and hike, and that's something that my family really enjoys doing. So, and I enjoy feeling as though there's a place where I can make a difference, and that's, even if it's a small difference, then that makes me really glad. So
every small difference is important. So I am going to thank you very, very much for coming on My River District and teaching us about the Grey Bruce Community Legal Clinic. I've got notes too. The Grey Bruce Community Legal Clinic. And you are located in the Professional Center, which is on 3rd Avenue.
Yeah, 945 3rd Avenue East, Suite 2.
Right, so main floor, fully accessible, and I will give you your locals Love It Here badges of honor.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you for being part of our community and bringing so much knowledge and helpfulness to the community and doing something that's so, so important. So thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
Call the Rogers TV viewer response line, email us, or connect with us on social media.
I did it. I need it.
The hero gave it.
And I am alive.
As an organ donor, you can save up to 8 lives and enhance the lives of 75 others. Please go to our website. Pledge a gift of life. You'll be glad you did.
Summer days, summer nights, lots of things to do, places to go, and people to see. If you're having a few drinks, be sure to plan ahead and get home safely. We don't want to pick you up. Drinking drivers risk injury.